Today's story is about skin retouching, and this image was taken by the Silver Concept. And yeah, I'm going to put his link down in the description so that you guys can check him out on his Instagram. And this image, so far I've already done my basic camera adjustments. As you can see, let me show you guys the before of this image right here. This is the raw file. You can see this is the raw file of the image, and this is after my camera adjustments. So we are going to be doing frequency separation, and we are going to be using a mixer brush and the lasso tool and Gaussian blur method, and we are going to do the color grading of this image. So let's go in and start editing this image, and I'm going to be giving you guys a free frequency separation action and a global dodging and burning action so that you can speed up your retouching process. And for this image, I will be using those two actions I've talked about, and if at all you want to download them, I'm going to put the link down in the description so that you can also be able to download them. And after you have downloaded them, you just come right to Windows, then come to action right here, and you can load your actions. So if at all you want to load your actions, just click right here and you can load the action. So let me kick in and start editing this image. So like I said, I'm going to play my frequency separation action, and if I can play it, remember to start by duplicating your background layer by clicking Ctrl J on the keyboard. I've not started by removing the blemishes in this image. Yeah, the model really had somewhat a flawless skin, so I'm going to play my frequency separation action, and as it is playing, it will bring this panel right here. So on this little box, make sure you zoom out, and okay, you zoom in in order to look at the details of the face of the model you're trying to edit. And for this image, I think I'll go in. You have to slide the radius until the details in the skin are no longer visible enough, like the skin pores and those blemishes, but you have to make sure you're still seeing the other details of the image. So click continue right here, and yeah, you'll be done with applying the frequency separation action. So just come right here and select your high frequency layer, and what you're going to do right now, we are going to create a black and white layer on top of the high frequency or the texture layer, and we are going to darken it. The reason for this, I've always told you guys, is we want to get where the skin tones are unmatching and not perfect. So when you're using a mixer brush tool, we are going to blend these uneven skin tones together so that you can get those nice transitions of the image. So after creating a black and white layer, I'm going to close it right now. So I'm going to come right here and I select my mixer brush tool, and for the settings I use, I'm going to put the link up there so that you can see the settings I use for my mixer brush tool. So make sure it is a clean brush right here, and this is checked right here. Wetness is at 10, the load is at 75, the mix at 90, and the flow at 100. Make sure sample all layers is not checked, and make sure you have selected your lower frequency layer or the color layer of your frequency separation group. So zoom in a little bit, and you start blending the uneven skin tones. And when you're mixing, make sure you mix the shadows alone, the midtones and the highlights. So make sure you don't drag from the highlights to the shadows. So let me start blending and mixing these areas right here, and I'm going to be showing you guys progress for the mixing of this image. And as you can see, I have not yet removed the blemishes, yeah, because we have little to deal with. And what my frequency separation or my mixer brush tool is going to do, it is going to help me to flatten out those blemishes, and I'll be having less to do with the blemish removal. So let's see what we have done so far. So before, after, you can see we have already done some progress right here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to zoom in a little bit since this was a full portrait, and I'm going to start blending and mixing these skin tones together. You can see I've mixed the highlight alone. Now I'm right here on the mid tone, which is right here, and I'm mixing it alone. Then I come to where they are transitioning and I apply the effect, or I blend it the more. Yeah, so the mixer brush tool is really important when you are doing your frequency separation, because it helps you blend the skin tones where they are not transitioning really well. Yeah, and make sure you are, like I said before, you are on your lower frequency layer. So continue evening out these tones, yeah, and applying your mixer brush tool in these areas. You can see on the chin area we had some little bit of bumpiness, so I'm trying to blend this area on the chin. Yeah, I'm doing the blending on the chin area. So increase your brush by using the brackets on the keyboard. You can increase or decrease by using the left and the right brackets on the keyboard. So as I said, we shall be checking on the progress so that we don't mess up on the retouching of this image. So you can see before, after. You can see the image still remains really nice and natural. So I'll turn the black and white on, and I'm going to kind of speed up the retouching process because I don't want it to be a long tutorial since we have so much to do on the retouching. Remember, we have to do the color grading of this image, and I would like to show you guys how I color grade my melanin models to get that really nice and melanated skin tone of my images. So, and when you come to this dark area, make sure you double click right here and pull the red channel a little bit up to brighten it up, so that you can see where the highlights are and the shadows clearly. So just continue blending these areas, and I'm going to show you guys a simple trick about frequency separation after you have applied your mixer brush tool. There is something which is going to fine-tune the image. As you can see, don't forget, after adjusting, don't forget, I had forgotten myself, don't forget to select your lower frequency layer and continue doing the mixing. Yeah, frequency separation is really fast if at all you master it, and you can produce somewhat close results to the global dodging and burning, not the micro dodging and burning, sorry. So that's why I love frequency separation. It is not time consuming. Yeah, you get the best results within the shortest time possible. So like I said, I'm just blending and evening out these skin tones. So I'm going to come right here and I'm going to blend this place a little bit more. So continue blending, and like I said, when you're doing your beauty retouching, make sure you don't drag from the highlights to the shadows. Make sure you mix the highlights alone, the midtones alone, and the shadows alone. So, and the other thing, make sure you really take your time when you're doing this, because you wouldn't want to rush and mess up the overall image. So make sure you really take your time. So we are going to come right down to the neck area, and as you can see, it was so dark, so I have to adjust a little bit. Come back to my lower frequency layer or my color layer, and I'm going to blend the skin tones right on the neck area, and I'm going to just even them out so you can see This method is really good and nice. So when you master it, you can really do wonders with your photography or your portraits. Yeah, I would advise everyone to adopt and start using this method. So after I've done this, I'm going to be showing you guys the simple trick after you have evened out the skin tones to fine tune the image a little bit more. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit. I'm going to come back to my black and white, and I'm going to darken because I want to work on the model's arm. So increase on my brush, and I'm going to blend these areas right here. You can see the model really had that kind of flawless skin. So I think we are going to be doing less of the blemish removal because we are flattening most of the blemishes that are appearing in this image. So we shall be doing less of the blemish removal. And like I said, when you're mixing, make sure you mix we have shadows right here, and we have a mid-tone right here, and we have a simple highlight. That's why I'm not dragging from the highlights to the shadows when I'm trying to do the mixing. So you can see. So let's see our progress so far. Turn off the black and white. You can see before after. We have really done well so far. So let me show you guys the trick, and if I can show you guys, let me first even out the skin tones a little bit more. So I think we are fine with this. So we are going to delete the black and white, and make sure you're still on your lower frequency layer, and select your lasso tool. So when we are going to use the lasso tool, we want to fine tune the image a little bit more. So look for the area that has more texture than the rest of the skin. And for this image, make sure first of all you select your feathering. We are going to be using 15 pixels for the feathering. So come and make a selection of the skin of the area with much texture. So we have chosen this area because it seems to have more texture than the rest of the skin. So come to filter, blur, then Gaussian blur. So what we are going to do right now, we are going to move this slider until we get better results. And the trick I had to share with you, remember the radius we put when we are applying the frequency separation action, we applied 9. So what I really discovered is when you multiply 9 by 3 and add 2 to the figure you get, for instance 9 times 3 you get 27, then you add 2 to that value, you get the best values for the skin texture. So let me show you guys. So 9 by 3 is 27, then plus 2 you get 29. So when you put 29, I think this is the best value for a skin tone. And if you feel that is too much, you can go in for around 28. So that is fine. You can see how it has evened out uh, the skin tone. So we are going to keep on making selections of the skin according to the shape we are trying to apply the effect on. So select the area like we have this right here, right click and apply the effect. So this is, we are kind of fine tuning the portrait or the image after evening out the skin tones. As you can see, this highlight was too much, so I had to apply the effect. So keep on selecting the area of the skin and applying that effect on the skin area. Let's see our progress so far. You can see before after the image is really looking great. So make a selection and apply it on the chin area. Make sure when you're selecting, you don't apply the effect on the chin area, no, sorry, on the mouth and the eyes. Plus, when you're applying the same effect, don't apply it on the nose area, because it is going to give you that fake look or that fake feel. So make sure you don't apply it on the nose area. So make a selection according to the shape like we are doing right now, and right click and apply the effect. And if at all you feel the effect is too much for your liking, just press shift Ctrl F, and that will give you the option of fading the effect from the area you have applied. So just select this area, right click and apply the effect. So I want to show you guys when it comes right to the nose area and you want to apply the effect. Yes, select according to the shape like this, right click, apply the effect, and if at all you feel it is too much, click shift Ctrl F and fade out to the effect, because you'll end up losing out the highlight if you don't. Yeah, I think we are done with the face area. You can see the before after. The image looks great. So you're going to come right to the neck area. You know, when most people are retouching, they tend I should say they tend to forget the neck area. So make sure you also come to the neck area and apply our magical effect to this area too. So as you can see, the progress is really nice. And now we are going to come right down to the arm area and apply our final frequency separation effect. So we are kind of fine tuning the image, and the other thing about frequency separation, you really have to be careful when you're applying the Gaussian blur, because that radius is the one that determines the overall output of the image. So you can see now we are done with our frequency separation. You can see the before after. So what I'm going to do, we are going to remove the blemishes, and for the tools you can use this right here, the healing or the spot healing or the clone stamp or the patch tool, but I'm going to be using the clone stamp tool. Make sure you're on your high frequency layer and zoom in your image and start removing the blemishes. Alt to sample the area you want to copy from and paint over. Press alternate and paint over the area you want to remove the blemishes from. So you have to really be careful with beauty skin retouching, because every mistake you make or you will be accounted for at the end of your retouching. So this can be like an exam, so make sure you be careful when you are doing each and everything about skin retouching. So we have these blemishes, and don't forget to remove the blemishes from the skin when you're doing your frequency separation. So I had zoomed in too much. So right now we are removing the blemishes, and the model really had a somewhat flawless skin. So yeah, his skin wasn't bad. So we are removing these blemishes. Remember, it is these details, these simple steps that make a difference to your images. So make sure you don't ignore these small steps. So I'm going to show you the other thing. We are going to be color grading this image, and we are going to be whitening the eyes and the teeth of our beautiful model. So make sure you stay tune to this. So I think we are almost done with the blemish removal, and the tutorial is really getting to be, it is turning out to be a long one, but hope you guys are learning something. So I think I'll zoom out to see where I've not removed the blemishes. So I want to try to get rid of this line right here, and yeah, let me try to get rid of this line in the neck. I think that's fine. Let's come right down to the arm area, and we try to remove these simple lines from, we are not going to eliminate all the lines, so we are just removing a little bit of them. So we are done with the blemish removal. So what we are going to do right now, we are going to do our global dodging and burning, and for the action I'll be putting a link down for you guys so that you can download it and use it for your images. So I'm going to come right to my action, and I'm going to play my global dodging and burning action, and as usual it will make my image black and white because there is a black and white layer inside here. Select your black layer, make sure it is a black mask selected, make sure white is on the foreground, then get your brush and reduce the opacity to around, we shall go in for around 9%, and we are going to enhance the highlights and the shadows of this image. And what we are going to do, we are going to turn off the frequency separation to get where the initial highlights were and the shadows. So remember, when you are doing your frequency separation, the image was kind of flattened. That's why we are doing the global dodging and burning. So increase on the brush by using the right bracket on the keyboard and start painting with a white brush. So we are enhancing. This is more of like contouring, so we are enhancing the highlights and the shadows of this image. So I'll also enhance the eyeshadow in this area of the nose, and we shall also enhance the chin area. Come to our burn layer, and remember, when you're doing this, you're not totally zoomed in completely, and start painting over this area. You can see we have some dark area right here. Then we are going to apply the effect on this area too. So we are like adding dimension to the image. So I think we are done with that. Turn back the frequency separation layer and turn off this black and white layer so that you can see what we have done. You can see the before after. It has added dimension, and if at all you feel maybe your burning is too much, just reduce on the opacity of the burn layer. So select this layer, and we are going to delete it because we are done using it. So what we are going to do right now, we are going to whiten the eyes of the model, whitening the eyes and the teeth of the model. So make sure you create a stamp visible layer, Shift Alt Ctrl E on the keyboard and duplicate it, Ctrl J. So we are going to do the eye whitening. So we are going to come to camera raw, and I have done so many tutorials about eye whitening, and I'm going to put the link for you guys up so that you can check them out. So we are going to zoom in the area we want to apply the effect for the eye and the teeth. So zoom in and get your adjustment brush right here. Make sure your temperature is at -38, the tint at 70, and highlights at 5, the white is at 4, and saturation as -73, sorry, and paint over only the white area of the eye. Yeah, make sure you are desist from painting on the colored area of the eye. So just paint over the white area of the eye. You can see the eye is now looking white, and if at all you want to do a little bit more whitening, just come and turn down the blue. You can even increase on the highlight to give it a pop. So come to the second eye and select it, and now start painting over this white area of the eye. You can see right now we are whitening this the eyes. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come right down to the teeth of the model right now, and I'm going to whiten them, but I'm going to whiten them a little bit, or I can just turn down this and I'm going to whiten the teeth of our model. Make sure you only paint one tooth at a time, because this effect desaturates and removes color. So I think we are done with the eye and teeth whitening. So before I can get out of camera raw, let's do some little bit of color grading in camera raw. So come to your camera calibration, and we are going to play around with these sliders. So I'm going to put the red primer to -9, so you can see when you do this what happens. So, and when you do this, so we are going to go in for around, the green primer is going to be at around 8, and for the blue primer you can see when you turn this it becomes it adds magenta, and here it adds green. So we are going to leave it at around -3. So we are done with this, and you're going to come and warm it up a little bit to around 5. So click OK. So we are done with the camera roll, the eye whitening, and our little bit of color grading. So we are going to come right to and do a little bit more of the color grading. So come and select your black and white layer, then come to the blending options and select multiply. You can see the image is now really dark, so come and reduce on the opacity of this. We shall go in for 23. Then we are going to come back to the black and white, and this time we are going to use, I think we are going to be using overlay for this effect right here, and we are going to turn down the opacity of the overlay. You can see we are now going in for that melanated skin. So we are going to come to our selective color, and we are going to turn down the magentas in this image in the red channel, and we are going to turn down the yellows too of this image. So I think we are done with that. So we are going to come back to our color balance right here, and we're going to color grade it a little bit more. So you can see the midtones, we are going to put -3, and we are going to add a little bit of yellows to our midtones, and we are going to come to our highlights, and we are going to add a little bit of reds to our highlights, and we are also going to add a little bit of magentas to our highlights. I think we are done with that. As you can see now, the image is really looking beautiful and dark. So what we are going to do, we are going to come back to our gradient maps, and we are going to select Sapphire Antique, and if at all you don't have it, just come and select photographic toning and you'll get it. Select that, and come to the blending, and we are going to be using multiply to apply this effect, because we want to add a little bit of warmth to this image, the overall image. So we are going to put all we have done in a group, shift and selecting the lowermost layer, Ctrl G on the keyboard. So before color grading, after, before, after. So what we are going to do, we are going to brighten up this image. So come right here and select your brightness and contrast. So we are going to pump it up. Remember, the color grading made the image dark, and we are going to add contrast to this image. So I'm going to put all we have done in a group, shift and select our frequency separation, Ctrl G to group everything. So you can see this is the image before and this is the after, before, after. So this tutorial has been about frequency separation, and we have been using a mixer brush tool, and we color graded and did the eye whitening of this image. And if at all you love this tutorial, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit the like button on this video, and don't forget to give us feedback in the comment section. I'm Ronix from Ronix Photography. Thank you for watching. See you in yet another retouching tutorial.